Hey, this is Editing Lauren. Before we jump into the video, I just want to say I know the first clip is weirdly grainy and like as if it was filmed on a camera from like 2003. I don't know why. My camera settings had not been changed for the clips following, yet they're fine. So I apologize that the first clip is like a mess, but it gets better, I promise. Welcome to the garden path. I cannot decide if I like this apron with this skirt, because they're floral, but they're different. And I don't know if it's too much. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I have very little sense of fashion. So today we're gonna be making strawberry jam. So I found a tutorial on YouTube. This one is by a channel called Cracker Jacks, which is actually very difficult to say. And this looked to be the simplest recipe I could find, and it also didn't have any of that extra stuff, no gelatin or anything like that. So that's the one I'm gonna go with today. So the first thing I did was I washed my strawberries, and now we're gonna chop their heads off and jump right into it. No! So we're gonna just chop the heads off these. So we're actually halving this recipe today, mainly because I didn't want to have to go out and buy 5 whole punnets of strawberries. That was too many in my opinion, and I already had these 2. So I'm going to just leave it as this. I also don't have strawberry jam that often. If I have a cool one that I've made, I'll probably eat it because I'll be proud of myself when I do. But if I've got like 3 jars of jam, that's too much. Too much. So hopefully this will make a single sensible jar. So if you are following along, first of all, why this is going to be a terrible tutorial. Secondly, the other ingredients you will need is sugar and lemon. That's it. That's all we're putting into this. Sugar, lemon, and strawberries. So once we've decapitated our strawberries, we're going to cut them up into smaller pieces, especially these big ones. There is no way that is going to break apart as we're cooking it. So just... I just absolutely sliced my finger. I like felt the edges of the like serrated blade as I did that. That hurt so much. As I said, this is not gonna be a good tutorial. I'm gonna go get a Band-Aid. I will be right back. The lesson we can take from this is keep your fingers clear of the knife as you're cutting. All right, so we're going to face our fear and just keep chopping these up, keeping it really messy, but keeping our fingers very much clear. And once we've chopped them up, we are going to put them in a little container, and then we're gonna add in some lemon juice. All right, so the original recipe calls for 2 pounds of strawberries, which is about 900 grams. Now, I didn't wanna actually make that much, so I decided to halve it. It's also easier to halve because our strawberries come in 250 gram boxes, so going to 450 seemed pretty logical. After chopping the heads off all of them, I've ended up with 430, so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball the other ingredients and just be a little stingy with them to try and even that out. So now that I've got my 430 grams of strawberries, I'm gonna pop those in there. Then we're going to start adding some lemon. All right, so the original recipe calls for half a lemon, and since we're halving that, I've got a quarter lemon. We're just gonna squeeze that over the strawberries there. All right, I think that's all we're gonna get out of that piece of lemon. Another thing I didn't think about is that lemon really hurts when it gets into cuts. And I have a Band-Aid on, but it's fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. The next thing we need is sugar. The original calls for 2 cups, so we're doing 1 cup, 1 stingy cup of sugar. For the stingy. Oh, ooh, I might count that as it's done, and just, if your sugar has stuck together, just stab it a couple of times, it's fine. So once we've got the sugar and the lemon juice into the strawberries, we're just gonna kind of mix that around, making sure that every piece of strawberry is covered in sugar. And as you do this, you can break up any of those large pieces of sugar as well. This made me think of like candied fruit. Maybe that's another thing that I should learn how to do. Fruit candy. Chuck it on my list. All right, so once we've mixed all of that in, Cracker Jack says we're gonna pop a lid on it, leave it on the counter for an hour to macerate, which I'm baffled is a real word. The English language is crazy. So I'm gonna pop that over here, and I will see you guys again in an hour. So since I was already in like a productive headspace, I decided to use this time to clean everything I used for the first half of this video, make myself a cup of tea, and pop on a load of laundry. All right, so it has been an hour. It is so want to use the word moist because that's a little gross, but like all the juices come out of the strawberries. It's really cool. So there we have, the sugar has caused it all to start to separate and it smells so good. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is pop this onto the stove. And this is the bit that kind of gets a little bit monotonous apparently. So we have to keep this on the boil for about 40 minutes, stirring the whole time. So, you know, I'm getting my arm workout for the day in. So I reckon by 40 minutes, it's gonna feel a bit tough. All right, it is starting to bubble up. Ooh, look at it go. I'm gonna turn it down slightly. I'm very nervous. The tutorial video that I watched basically said if you start to burn the bottom of this, it's game over. So I'm a bit paranoid that I'm gonna burn the bottom of this because that sounds like a me thing to do. Oh wow, it is really foaming. Maybe I should have used a bigger pot. I don't know. All right, so it's starting to thicken up a little bit. I can see that I probably should have cut the chunks a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna give them just a little bit of a mash. Try and break it up a tiny bit. Ooh, the little pieces are starting to look like jam now. That's so exciting. I'm gonna chuck it back on now that I've broken those pieces up a little bit. And I reckon it's almost there.
This for about 20 minutes or so. We're about halfway through now.
Alright, so the very helpful tutorial, I'm a little salty because I didn't catch this before I did it, said one of the best ways to test if it is done is put a plate in the freezer before you start making anything. And so you've got a frozen plate and you're going to put stuff on here and see if it reacts or something. I'm doing this as I learn. And I didn't put a plate in the freezer because I didn't think about it. But what I do have is the underside of the ice cream that is in the freezer. So I'm going to use this because this is nice and frozen. So we're going to take a little bit of this jam. We're just going to plop that on there. Okay, it's definitely not done. Apparently, when you put your finger through it, if you hold it up, the jam shouldn't move. So we're going to keep boiling it. Now because the jam is going to be really hot when we put it in the jar, we actually need to preheat the jar. So I've just boiled some water. We're going to fill this up. And that's going to heat the jar so that it's all ready for our jam. Let's try the ice cream tub test again. I put this on for a little bit longer. It's really thickened up now. I think this might be it. All right. It's staying. All right, that means it's done. Turn that one off.
You can't touch this.
To avoid another hand injury, gonna use a cloth to pour out that boiling water. All right, so now we're gonna take our jam, we're gonna put it in a jar. I'm just gonna use like a measuring cup to scoop it in there. I feel like that's probably the least messy way of doing this. That glooping. Okay, so there we have it. There's our strawberry jam. I'm gonna leave this out to cool and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge overnight and then we'll try it with some scones tomorrow morning. And good morning, it is the next day. This has been sitting in the fridge overnight, so it is well and truly set. It's not moving anywhere in that jar. So today we're going to start taste testing it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just very unladylike. You know what it kind of tastes like? It tastes like, and it's probably because it's just fruit and sugar, but like those dehydrated fruit flats. I don't even know what they would be called. They're not like a roll up, but it's like the fruit has been like pulped and then like baked. I don't know what you would call those. A fruit flat. But it tastes like one of those. It's really, really nice. But just tasting the jam isn't really going to tell us how amazing it is. What we need to do is have it properly on a scone with some whipped cream. So I have some cream here, but it's not whipped yet, and I'm going to do it by hand, which I don't think I've ever done before. So let's see how this goes. We're just going to plop a bit in here. Yeah. Ooh. Ah. That was a mistake. And yet, I do not learn. I'm also going to pop a little bit of vanilla essence in there, because that's how whipped cream should be done. But the tiniest drop. Ah! Now, I know a lot better than to lick any vanilla essence off my fingers, because that would be a dire mistake. Alright, so I've got some cream in a bowl with some vanilla. Let's give it a little whip. And this is going to take like 5 minutes of just whipping. Oh my god, the vanilla is so strong. I can smell it so clearly. I may have put too much in. Also, this particular shot I've realized is far too bright. But I've already started filming and I'm not going to change it now. So you can just deal with how incredibly white this frame is. Alright, it is starting to thicken up. Plop. We're getting there. Said 3 to 4 minutes, but I think it's been that time, and it is not done. To be fair, I am a lot less efficient as an electronic mixer. Here we go, now we're getting somewhere. Now it's starting to look properly whipped. Woo! Alright, that looks pretty whipped to me. Alright, so I have some scones, and I'm going to put my jam on first, because that is the order that it should be done. Oh, look at that. That looks so good. Okay. Just pop it on top right there. Don't be stingy with your jam. You worked hard to make it. You should enjoy the fruits of your labor. Get it? Fruits of your... I'll see myself out. Then we're going to delicately plop our whipped cream on top. Plop. And plop. Give it a little swirl around. That looks pretty gosh darn good to me. Alright, let's give it a go. Oh yeah, that's really good. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Well, I'm gonna go scoff down the rest of this, so we're gonna end the video here. If you want to see more of my garden path videos, you can click this little link right here. If you'd like to hear some of my original songs, you can click this link over here. And if you would like to subscribe, you can click the little circle right here, and I will see you for the next video, whenever that may be. Bye!